Hello and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. Well, daylight is just breaking here for the last 5-10 minutes. I would have come on earlier, but I was doing some updates on college basketball on Facebook, putting a list of all the NCAA Division I teams that were undefeated, and then all the ones that are winless. 13 undefeated teams, still 7 winless teams. And then I was doing the Louisiana basketball teams, the really good, like Louisiana State University, LSU, Shreveport. They're 9-0 in the NAIA. They're not in the NCAA, NAIA, LSU, Shreveport. And then the ugly Southern University, 2-5, Southern University of New Orleans, and the NAIA, they're also 2-5. And then there's a lot of in between. My alma mater, Southeastern Louisiana, 5-3, not bad. They played some tough competition along the way. Okay, anyway. Then I was reading about Lita. I was listening to Carmelita Ford, talking about how Tony Iommi used to beat on her. Okay, so she says, and he said, "Oh well, everybody was on drugs back then." Apparently, that's what he said. Okay, now this morning we have 10 high. The barrels are stacked 10 high. Well, not exactly, but that's where the name comes from. Kentucky blended bourbon whiskey, sour mash, 80 proof, introduced in 1935, a Sazerac brand with a rather unique bottle. You know, it's got a kind of a different bottom than you'll see, I've noticed. Okay, originally Hiram Walker's 10 high, purchased by Sazerac at some point in the last 20 years, versus very Old Barton. Now you might say, oh, wait a minute, wasn't VOB put out of the competition? Actually, it was knocked out of competition due to poor performance, but we'll talk about that in a second. Introduced 1964, not certified or not listed as sour mash, but it is straight bourbon, and it is aged 4 years as opposed to 10 high, which is aged 3 years. Okay, well, I figured it can't hold up against straight bourbons, but let's see how it does against blended whiskeys, bourbon and maybe blended whiskey, till I run out. I can't get any more. It's not sold around here. All right, so like I said, on its own merits, if you drink very Old Barton by itself, it's fine. Enjoyable, got woody notes, charcoal, everything mellow. Oh, and by the way, it's warm out here. Get up to about 80 degrees today, and then the deep freeze is coming. Well, the deep cold, not going to freeze down here, but get close. The 10 high does well on its own too now, and it actually did well in competition so far. So let's check it out. 10 high. All right. Okay. At one time, it was a straight bourbon, and there may still be a straight bourbon offering from it, because there are some clues to that effect on the Sazerac website, but I've not seen that. The main offering, though, is the blended bourbon, 51-49 ratio. Okay, and I do want to do that little search for the ancient age preferred blended whiskey. I know where I can get it for about $7.99 for a liter, but it is in a city that I have under boycott, so I'm not doing it. I might be able to buy it from on a special order through Mathern, so I'll check, but it's no rush because I got too much now, as we all know. Now remember that ancient age has that weird unfiltered look, right? That, not ancient age, the 10 high, with all the funny cotton look and stuff in there. Can't see that really on this. They're both just amber. Let's hold the bottle up to the screen. Oh yeah. Oh boy, so much suspended sediment. Why that is the case, I cannot tell you. Never seen anything so peculiar with a whiskey. And I have so much experience with whiskey. Actually, I don't really have much at all. So you might say you're just a novice. Yeah, this is true. This does not disqualify a person from doing taste tests. This does not disqualify a person from doing reviews. You could just start doing beer reviews, wine reviews, whiskey reviews. Now, of course, wouldn't hurt you to do some research, kind of get some education on this subject. And that can be done by simply reading and studying. It does kind of irritate me when people do videos and they say, well, I don't know what this is. I don't know the style. I didn't check. And I always say to myself, why didn't you check? Why didn't you check for the ABV? Now, if they don't have it listed, I understand. But why didn't you do some research? I don't know. That's coming from a research-oriented background, social studies teacher and all that. So that's the most fun for me. That's the best part of the review in my case is the research and finding out about the history of the brand. Usually they taste pretty good anyway, so that's not that complicated. You know, most beers I try, they are good to excellent. It's not that hard to find a bad. I mean, it's not that hard to find a good beer these days. You can find some mediocre ones, of course, and even bad ones, but you kind of have to search for the bad ones. And the experience with whiskey so far is most of them are good and they taste similar and all of that. So now I'm smelling it already from up here, and the whiskey's down there. It's coming in kind of a strong waxy aroma. And I don't know which one is presenting that, but let's go. I need to go walking too, because when that cold comes in, it's going to be rain beforehand. I want to get that 1.5 miles done before that rain comes in about 4 hours, 5 hours. Okay, nectar, or let's say, I wanted to say clover honey, but maybe it's honeysuckle. You get those around here in the summer. It's some kind of nectar though, and sweet sugariness and light brown sugar and some dried flowers. And see all these intricate aromas you can get with just common whiskey. And people will ask me, which ones do you get drunk on? I'll say none. I just like to smell them and taste them. There's nothing about the drunk. I mean, look at the little bit I'm drinking. This is a 4-ounce glass, and I got it filled up 40%, not even 2%, 2 ounces. Good morning, Ron. I think the 10 high will win, says John and Neely. Well, I think so too, but I don't know. Can a blended whiskey beat a straight bourbon whiskey? I think it could. Now this one here, this is more of a peppery note. Okay, now you see pepper, and spicy flowers and spices, some kind of spice. No, not crab boil spice, but it's some kind of thyme or rosemary. It's something. You know, you can get Sazerac's crab boil, and it has a lot of. You look on the back on the ingredients. It's like dozens of spices in there, and this has something. Okay, so do they smell similar? No, they do not. They do not at all. Okay, so in case you thought Sazerac just makes 50 different whiskeys and slaps different labels on them, think again. I haven't had one yet that smelled like the other. Nope, I haven't had that. Smells similar. Okay, so the aroma is not the same. Now, which aroma is better? Oh, well, guess it's a tie. Different, both enjoyable smells, but I don't buy whiskey to smell it. I buy it to taste it. So, and I'm going to show you, if I can remember, if somebody can remind me, I'll show you one I bought. I know I'm not supposed to keep buying it, but I couldn't pass it up because it was too intriguing when I was at International Market. And then my friend David, who does the beer reviews and the whiskey and the brandy, he said, oh, I don't recall seeing that one over there. I said, yeah, it wasn't even in the whiskey area. They had it stuck over there by like flavored vodka. It's like they put it in the wrong spot. I said, I just happened to glance at it. I said, whoa. So, and then he got all excited about it. Oh man, he was like saying, oh no. Okay. He doesn't really live too close to international market. Closer than I do though. Oh. Now this one's spicy in the taste. Spicy, sweet, light caramel, sugar cane, even flavors commonly associated with whiskey. Man, that's a pleasant taste. Now, people might roll their eyes and say, I hate your videos, and I hate you, and I wish you would die in a car wreck or something like that, because I'm saying that you can get these whiskeys for under $14 and they have all these intricate flavors. Well, I'm sorry, they do have that, and it's a good flavor. Oh, it's enjoyable. Does have some honeycomb, beeswax, spice, but you know they're gonna have that rye spice because Sazerac is like a major league rye whiskey people. I mean, they just love it. You know, they even have their own. This sort of like one of the early ones with all that rye. Now everybody's doing rye now, right? You know, Jack Daniel's rye, Canadian Club rye, everything rye. Oh yeah, this has that spice too, and the sweetness and the kind of like bit of honey or something, but no peanut butter. No, it's dried flowers, and I mean, yeah, they both have an alcohol taste since they're 80 proof. You know, like I say all the time, what do you expect? But it's not an overriding taste, and it's not an offensive taste, and it's not off-putting. You know, it's not like you just drinking rubbing alcohol. No. And the amazing thing is that one of them is 49% grain neutral spirits, just basically corn alcohol, distilled to the hilt, neutral spirit, right? Just filler, if you want to call it that. In beer, they call it an adjunct. Odorless, tasteless, bulk. So all the flavor and aroma's got to be coming from, it's going to be coming from the 51% straight whiskey, so bourbon whiskey. So it's interesting. You notice I didn't talk about corn yet, did I? No. There's no overriding corn thing going on. Oh. Any kind of spice always gets to my nose. Sorry about that. Any kind of spice. That's why I couldn't stand that Dave's Insanity sauce. Oh, I didn't mind the heat. That was not an issue. It was that it was so spicy hot. I would have to blow my nose. Like, I couldn't enjoy the food. I would just blow my nose. It'll clear your sinuses out, I suppose. But the Dave's Insanity sauce was too irritating to use. I was so glad when I finished it. It only took me 2 years, right? Okay. Well, I can't call a winner. It's a tie. They're both enjoyable. It's strange, you know, the very Old Barton did so poorly in those initial blind taste tests, and it got knocked out the tournament very quickly. But, you know, hey, that's it. I got to call it as I see it. Some people will comment on my videos and say, I'm sorry, but I don't score it that high. I say, you don't have to be sorry at all. You call them as you see them. Many times, the cheaper whiskeys actually end up being better than the higher end ones, in my opinion, says John. That's why I like to try them all. Huh. Well, I'll say this much. I had the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, and that was like the most ghastly one I've ever had. And I've had a good amount of whiskeys now. I've tried even the Four Roses Special Edition. That was the one that was so expensive, and a guy gave me a vial of it. And I had the Pappy Van Winkle, the expensive one, and I had a vial of that. And those were fantastic, you know. But that Elijah Craig Barrel Proof was no good to me. I didn't like it. Yeah, it's $60 a bottle or $50 to $60 a bottle. Great. That's wonderful. It tastes unfinished, okay? It's a gimmick. But the guy, Jared Kazanov, who brought the bottle, he said, well, he loves it. I said, but to me, it's not finished. It's like saying, I said, it's supposed to be cut. You're supposed to cut it with water to make it the 80 proof or 95 proof, to make it, or even 101 proof, palatable. I said, you could have cheese that's not finished. It's not cured yet. Oh, look, uncured cheese. And then you gag, you know. I mean, now somebody might say, yeah, but it's more intense. Oh, yeah, I'm sure it is. But that's just my opinion. I think the one on the left is the, hold on. I think the one on the left is a very Old Barton because it did have some barrel char, you know, wood char. That was maybe a relatively higher amount than the 10 high. The 10 high is smoother, or if you want to say more or less expressive or something. I don't know, but it's, can't call a winner. They're both enjoyable, so I cannot call a winner. I'm sorry, I cannot do it. But I can try to tell them apart at least. So who wins the taste challenge? Well, in this case, no one wins. I would just shop price. If I was going to get 10 high or very Old Barton, well, whatever was cheaper, I'd buy it. Simple as that. But I do think this is very Old Barton. Let's do the reveal. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I just said that they were, well, they're not similar. I don't have enough experience. That's my excuse. So if I get it wrong, I can say, well, I don't have enough experience with either brand. Although you could argue that I have had a fairly good amount of experience with the very Old Barton. So that wouldn't really hold water, but that's the excuse I would use. But I don't have to use that excuse because I got it right. Ha ha ha. That's what experts do. They get stuff right. Actually, if I wanted to manipulate this, I would just simply record it and then not post it if I was wrong, right? I could do that. I could just be fake. Record everything, then post what shows me being right. I could fake it, but I wouldn't do it. It would be wrong. Certainly 10 high has barrel char, wood, vanilla. It has all that, but it might just be a shade less. It might, you heard what I said? It might be a shade less than the very Old Barton. But there was something in that sip that made me think that was very Old Barton. But golly gee, Willikers, whatever, they're so close. Go with price. Drinking at 7:40 a.m. laughing out loud says, yeah, no, Chris, but no, it's actually it's 6:40 a.m. here. 6:40. No, I'm not drinking. Nope. No, I'm tasting. See, who in the world would drink whiskey this early in the morning? Only a fool or worse. No, I would never dream of doing that. I'm only tasting it. So this is science. This is not social. This is not the social aid and pleasure club. This is science only. And that's it. I mean, there's no drinking. I mean, I have to swallow it. I'm not going to spit it out. But no, wouldn't dare drink at 6:40 a.m. But I would do tastings just for convenience and entertainment purposes. J. Bird Jenkins says, Ron, you are not a faker. No, I try not to be. I don't see any purpose in being a faker. You know, might get more views, might get more subs. Don't care. That's not the goal. Never was. If I was trying to get views and subs, seems to me, at least one time, at least once, in over 7 years, I would have asked people to like, comment, and subscribe. But I've never done that. I've only ever asked people to comment. I challenge anyone to find a video in this library of mine showing where I ever asked anyone to like or subscribe. It doesn't exist. Well, naturally, I've asked people to comment, because what's the point of doing videos if you're not going to interact with people? That was, you know, that's been my ongoing gripe for years, where you got people doing videos and they got all these wonderful production values and graphics and music, and it's just fantastic. And you make a comment and they ignore you like you're nothing. And some people say, oh, they just don't like you. They're ignoring you. Oh, yeah, well, go look at their comment section and you'll notice no response to anyone. And if they do make a response, it's something like thanks, or thanks, cheers, or, you know, like screw off is basically what they're saying. So no, that's not my gig. I'm doing this for the interaction of it. I mean, I could just do my own taste challenges privately on my own, right? Entertain myself. That would be easy. But the whole purpose for me is to interact with people, because in my personal life, I don't know too many people who like to do this kind of stuff, taste challenge and evaluate beers and wine and all that. I mean, they drink. They probably drink way more than me. Most people I know drink much heavier than I do. But they're not evaluators. They're not hobbyists. You know what I'm saying? They're just consumers. They consume. But as far as the subs and the view count, I mean, I don't, that doesn't matter to me. I mean, you could say, oh, you're lying. You're just trying to position yourself as like an artist. Or something. Well, I mean, whatever, but I'm just telling you, that's the truth. If I cared about the subs, I'd have hired an agency to pull in a crowd. The big sub count people, they almost all have a contract where they have one of those third-party people that pull in a crowd. They pull a crowd, which is fine. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me, as long as you don't brag about it. Now, there's one guy kind of gets under my skin. He brags about how many subs he has, but he paid for the crowd, so it kind of bothers me a little bit. I could brag about this beautiful woman that's hanging out with me, but I paid for her to hang out with me. That wouldn't exactly be anything to brag about now, would it? Nope, wouldn't be much. I mean, if you're paying for it, why brag on it? Anyway, enough rant and rave with Ronald, because I do those rant and raves sometimes. I was talking to William Kepley. Oh, yes. 2 days ago, he said, let's do... John says, haha, like the Beatles at the airport, JFK Airport, New York City. Right. Look at this. Thousands of girls at the airport to greet the Beatles. Yeah, they paid them to be there. Most of those girls never had heard of the Beatles. Most Americans had never heard of the Beatles. They had heard some chatter about some English band that was making a name for themselves over in Europe, but they were basically a non-entity in this country. And so that was an example of the Beatles priming the pump, or their management team priming the pump. They weren't too involved in the day-to-day operations of the promotions. Brian Epstein did that. But going back to William, he was saying we ought to do an end-of-the-year retrospective about all the, what was he saying? Something along the lines, let's do a retrospective of all the hangouts for over the year. I said, that would be something to do. So we'll see. It's up to him. You know, I'll do it. Heck, I did Judas Priest warfare with him on air. We did a warfare about old school Judas Priest versus the newer school, and that was interesting. Didn't mean much, but it was interesting. Basement Beer said, I didn't pay for one of my 65 subs. Yeah, but if you did, you might have 1,065, but you may not have any more views. You see, if you notice the high sub people sometimes they'll have a lot of subs, but their view count isn't very good, which is meaning they pull the crowd to press the subscriber button, but they don't ever actually watch the videos. So what's the point of that? It's like saying, I got 726 friends on Facebook. How many of those people do you actually know in real life? 50 of them. And of those 50 people, how many do you actually interact with on a yearly basis? 12. So what's the point of having the 726 friends? Well, it looks good. Gives me credibility. Makes me look important. Well, that's good. It's important to look important if that's important to you. Okay. Enough rant and raving. So to wrap this up, which is better, 10 High or Very Old Barton? I would say it's a draw. Would I recommend both? I sure would. I sure would. You got $10, $10 to $15 to spare. Check them out. And you know, you can go to some of these liquor outlets in Louisiana, no joke, and you can get liter bottles for the same price as a $7.50. Oh yeah, like a super discount center in Chalmette. Oh, and by the way, St. Bernard Parish, remember I mentioned that? They only have liquor stores there. You know, you can only buy liquor at a liquor store in that parish. In Louisiana, it's a local option. The majority of the areas I cruise around, liquor stores can be any gas station. But in some parts of Louisiana, it's up to the parish and the parish council, or as they call it in some areas, the police jury, which you might call a county. What is that called in counties? A county council or something? But their police juries will decide to have a more restrictive policy. And in St. Bernard Parish, you can only buy liquor at a liquor store. But the point there is that they had some fantastic deals, $7.99 for a liter bottle. Oh, yes. Jay Bird says, I would like to find either of these in Ohio. Well, to close this out, let me tell you how you can do that. You look on the label, and it's got a phone number, I think. Well, wait a minute. All right, let's try this. Okay, you got fooled. I got fooled. All right, let's try it this way. Get on the Sazerac website. Just type, I put the link down below. Type in www.sazerac.com. Hit contact us. It'll give you a phone number. Call them up. They'll tell you within minutes. You can call them about 9 a.m. Central, 10, whatever, Eastern time, 9 a.m. Eastern time. They'll be open. Say, I want to find 10 High in Ohio. Tell them where you are, or Very Old Barton. They'll tell you immediately if it's available in your town. They're good at locating stuff. Last thing, I want to show you something I found. Okay, hold on. Yeah, and I got these Captain Morgan pajama pants on that Sandra gave me. Thank you, Sandra. Do you know I've never had rum in my life? I wouldn't know a bad rum from a good rum, I don't suppose. I did have that rum-infused, rum-aged Innocent Gun, which I loved, but I never had actual rum to my knowledge. John and Neely says, unfortunately, neither of these is readily available here. I will keep looking, though. There are a lot of liquor stores in Georgia. Maybe I will call Sazerac. That's the solution, I think. I was able to locate Kentucky Tavern, though. Yeah, call Sazerac. They'll tell you. The lady has a database. She looked it up on the computer and said, okay, I was looking for Kentucky Gentleman. She said the last time it was sold in New Orleans was October 2014. She said, I can even tell you which stores used to carry it. I should have told her, yeah, tell me, because they might have still had some back stock. I didn't think about that. That was stupid. Well, anyway, I bought a bottle in Kentucky. Yeah, they're very good at telling you that. Sazerac. And I asked the lady, I said, where are you located, by the way? She said, I'm at Buffalo Trace. So it was being routed out of Frankfort, Kentucky. She said, why don't you come visit our distillery? We'll take you on a great tour. And that turned out to be true, because I went to the distillery a year later, and this was May of 2017, and they had a fantastic tour. If you ever want to go on a fantastic distillery tour, which costs no money, it's free, go to the Buffalo Trace or Barton Distillery Tour in Bardstown, Kentucky. It's also free, no charge. There's one in Virginia, which is a Sazerac craft distillery in Fredericksburg, Virginia. And in 2018, they're going to open up the Sazerac cocktail experience in New Orleans, which will be a free tour open to the public, which is going to be a showcase for their whole company, the Sazerac company. And I'm sure they're going to have free samples, because that company is very smart. Here's something I bought at International Market. It's called Berkshire Mountain Distillers Incorporated New England Corn Whiskey. Great Barrington, Massachusetts. 86 proof. What? Handcrafted, they claim. Corn whiskey. And you know what it cost me? $8.99 a bottle. It was $8.99. At International Market. So when my friend David saw that, his eyes popped. He said, oh, I gotta get it. So will I do a review for that? Yeah. And I don't know how long I'll be able to manage to wait, you know what I mean, to put it off, because I want to try it now. I want to try it right now. I want to try it now, but I'm gonna wait. I'm like Michael Corleone. I'm gonna wait till after the baptism. All right, well, thanks for watching this. I would agree with you. Incredibly good taste challenge. And get ready for tomorrow night, because tomorrow night we go big time. Tomorrow night is the big time. I'm probably going to have thousands of dollars coming my way after tomorrow night, because tomorrow night we're going to examine Seagram's VO. Canadian blended whiskey, introduced in 1913, 80 proof. And that'll put me on the road to superstardom, probably. Okay, thank you, people, for watching this video production, and everyone have a good and safe Tuesday.